Every last one of us struggles with fear. It is something that can lead us to live a life that's really confined to things that we feel are safe or familiar, but unfortunately, living a life this way starts to feel like we are living in a prison. So today we're going to talk about how we can learn to push past fear so we can live the life that we truly want to lead. Stick around. Welcome back. My name's Nina and I'm a life coach that specializes in personal development. Here at this channel we talk all about our emotional well-being, understanding our own psychology, and leading our best life possible. So if you weren't already a subscriber, please take a moment and become one. We definitely want you to stay connected. We all have dreams and expectations for our life, but too often our fears keep us stuck in an endless cycle of repeating the same behaviors and habits day after day after day. So we never really feel like we are going forward. But our fears do not have to control our life. We can learn to overcome them and to manage them, which is exactly what we'll be talking about today. So let's go ahead and jump right into a list of 8 different strategies to help us learn to overcome our fears. The very first thing that we need to do is to be honest with ourselves about what our fears actually are. And sometimes we don't even know. We just know that we have this intense anxiety, but we've never really gone deeply enough within ourselves to see what the root of that fear actually is. And that is an essential component to being able to push past it. So that's the first step. Then we want to go ahead and brainstorm all of the fears that we can think of and sit down and determine which of these fears are rational and which of these fears are irrational. The second thing we have to realize is that a certain amount of fear is normal and healthy. We just don't want to fixate on it, and we don't want it to be something that is actually controlling us. We also have to understand that although the emotion itself can feel very unpleasant, it is not going to break us. So we don't need to be afraid of feeling fear. We are going to feel fear, but we have to understand that we will be able to experience fear and yet still be able to move forward. The third thing that we need to do is to determine whether or not this is something that we can control. Is this a fear that we can do something about, or is this completely out of our hands? If it's something that is completely out of our hands, there is no need to worry about it, because worry is certainly not going to help the problem. It's only going to make the problem worse. If there is something that we can actually do about the fear, which is a lot of times the case, we need to really examine that and see what actionable steps that we can take to make it a little bit better for us. The fourth thing that we can do is to be at peace with any worst case scenarios. Now, I don't mean we want to just endlessly engage in catastrophic thinking or think about all these crazy stories that will never ever happen. We want to think about instead any realistic consequences and make peace with them. We have to understand that we have gotten through everything in our life, and no matter what happens, any of these scenarios, we will get through it. And once we have that basic understanding, it helps us to really push past that fear. The fifth thing that we need to do is to learn as much as possible to live in the present moment. We all have the terrible habit of letting our mind endlessly drift off to the future, which is exactly where fear lives, because we all think of our fears as being associated with the unknown, with uncertainty. But if we can continuously bring our focus back to the here and now, we can understand that in this moment we are safe, and we can learn to live moment to moment to moment. The sixth thing that we need to do is to realize that imagined scenarios are always way worse than reality. So we can think about all these situations in our mind that we really blew up into big deals that never even happened, first of all, or were way less frightening than we thought of. So we need to really give ourselves time to think about the scenarios and think about all the fears that you have actually conquered already. We have gotten so far in our life, which means that we have conquered endless amounts of fears, and we absolutely have the ability to continue to conquer fears. The seventh thing that we need to do is to realize the true benefit of change. So there is not one person in this entire world that has been able to live a life where they did not have to face fears or overcome obstacles of some kind. It is unfortunately a central theme of life, but it's actually a blessing because when we face fears, that's when we can go forward. That's where we make progress. Nothing interesting or exciting happens in the comfort zone. And I've said it before, but comfort is often really a barrier to having happiness or progress in our life. So we need to really start to push past the comfort and see the benefit in doing so. And the 8th thing that we need to do is to understand that failure is unfortunately a part of life, and a lot of fear is wrapped up in that fear of failure. And guess what? Yes, there are going to be things in life that we do fail at. There are things in life that we will make mistakes at. That is part of being a human being, but that has nothing to do with our value. We have to understand that we are not perfect, that we will get rejected, we will get made fun of sometimes. There's nothing that we can do to actually prevent that, but that's okay. We are enough. We don't need that external validation. All we need is the knowledge that we tried, and more often than not, we actually succeed. And once we've done all of these steps, we still need to do 2 important things. And the first thing is that we actually need to start moving forward. And that can be in baby steps. We don't have to jump to something that makes us feel terrified. We can make little, small, incremental steps, and we are going to see that we are making progress. And the second thing that we need to do is to celebrate every single time that we do face a fear, because it is a big deal. It doesn't have to be a big deal to someone else, but we know how monumental it is when we actually set forth and start to conquer these fears that have held us back for so long. Remember, yes, fear is going to be a part of our life forever, but it does not have to control us. We don't have to live in a constant state of anxiety. And when we can learn to start to push past these fears, we can start to create the life that we truly want to lead. So I truly hope this video was helpful to you today, and if it was, please like it and share it with someone else who may need to hear the same message today. Also, again, if you aren't already a subscriber, please take a moment and become one. We definitely want you to stay connected. And I thank you so much for spending time with me today. Have an absolutely amazing day.